Welcome to Seeing Scarlet. It is Shelby here with Tyler, and we have a lot to cover in this episode. We have the full recap of the Texas Tech sports scene that has happened over this past week, especially softball going up to South Carolina. Lost the series, but did salvage it with a really nice, gritty West Texas tough comeback dub on Sunday. We're going to recap all that full series as we do in depth because that's who we cover most closely on here is softball. And then, of course, the Lady Raiders have been doing the damn thing in the WBIT, headed to the Elite Eight of that. They're one game away from the Final Four, taking on the Florida Gators on Thursday. How did they get there? Two really big wins this past week, including taking down the number one overall seed. We'll talk about that. We have men's basketball in the Sweet 16. We have women's golf, back-to-back dubs. We have baseball with a really heartwarming story with Brady coming back to play. You have all these different sports going on. Track's getting back at it, outdoor scene. We're going to talk about all of that. But first, we know that y'all, if we don't talk about it, all you're going to say in our comments is, why didn't you mention Aaliyah Chavez? So we're going to talk about that to start, and then we're going to move on from it. So if you didn't hear, if you sleep under a rock, today was Aaliyah Chavez's decision day. She chose to continue her athletic career, her basketball career at the University of Oklahoma, even though they call themselves OU. Anyway, they don't know how to put the letters in the right order, but she is going to go play basketball there. And was this the decision a surprise? I'll say this. No, but I want to make clear that doesn't mean that Texas Tech was not in this thing until the very, very end. I only say wasn't a surprise because I've said on this show and other places before that Oklahoma always made the most sense to me basketball-wise. But obviously Texas Tech has a home factor that was really big in this. And I was like, is that going to be a big enough pool? It ultimately isn't. She goes to Oklahoma. They have the number one offense in the country, pace of play-wise, the fifth best offense in the country, points per game-wise. There is nowhere in this country that fits Aaliyah Chavez's game better right now than Oklahoma. And anybody that watches women's basketball knows that. So it wasn't a surprise to me she chose there. But Texas Tech fully was in the running. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise or doubters. I mean, it came down to this morning if you ask Aaliyah. It's been a wild 12 months, a wild few weeks, days. Tyler knows some of it. He knows every time I'm getting on here, I'm just like, oh, God, Tyler, something else. I'm not going to share the full story because it's not my story to tell. It's hers. But it's been a wild roller coaster of a thing to follow. And she ultimately ends up at Oklahoma. But no, as Texas Tech fans, the people on the Texas Tech side, in my opinion, did everything they really could to try to keep her home. And Aaliyah said that herself today, that there was nothing Texas Tech did wrong. She just had to do what was best for herself and her family. And I think that's the decision that was made. To me, it's a basketball decision. Also, I do think there is a major, major brand deal coming her way. I do think she probably did turn down more, and I don't know this for sure, this is just my opinion from what I've heard, turned down more blanket NIL, like some money from Texas Tech in Texas as the other two finalists that she had. But I think she's going to make it up plenty in a big old brand deal at OU. So she's still going to get what she's worth there and be at a school that's kind of already been there, done that. They're in the Sweet 16, and she doesn't have to take it on her shoulders to try to rebuild a program. That's not something that she should have to do if that's not something that she wants to do, you know, and I'm not saying that isn't. I know she wanted to be here, and there's a lot of factors that go into play, and she made the decision, like she said, that was best for her and her family. But that's what it is. Those are the facts. Came down to us, OU, Texas, us and OU in the final thing. I heard our visit went pretty well at the end. We did our best to convince her on what we could see, what we would be with her in the system and the offense. But ultimately, she went to OU last week for their NCAA tournament game. And again, this is my opinion, but it makes it a little bit of sense, right? It's a little bit easier to see something in person on the court in front of you than it is in like a PowerPoint in an office building room. And they're trying to convince you what it could be. She could see what it is at OU, and she chooses to go there for basketball, for brand reasons, all those things. So that's kind of the gist of it. It's been a wild journey. I know she's got to be excited for it to be over. I'm a little bit glad it's over myself, to be honest. I wish her the best. As a basketball fan, she's going to do great things there. And hey, if she ever gets a little bit homesick, Lubbock's not too far down the road. Maybe she can be a Lady Raider down the road. I'll never give up hope. But if you feel like there's nothing I covered there from your perspective, I feel like I've been kind of in it sometimes, so I feel like sometimes I don't say all the stuff that people may be thinking or questioning, but that's kind of where I'm at with it. From what I do know, is it's a basketball decision, a brand decision. Just made the best decision for her and her family. But Texas Tech absolutely was in it down to the end. Down to the end. And she said herself, it was a coin flip. That might have been a little bit of a stretch. I'm sure she had a good feeling about where she wanted to go, but Lubbock was pulling at her heartstrings down to the end, I think, for sure.
Yeah. Ultimately, like you said, big shout out, honestly, to our coaches and our staff. I mean, we were the first offer for her. We've had her in our backyard for so many years already. So it felt, I mean, I'm sure that everyone's relieved now that it's like finally over, even though it was with a disappointing end. But at the same time, yeah, like you said, she's going to do great at OU. She's going to go do great things there. Obviously, I'll try to, separate the basketball from the team and all that if I can. But at
It's
least
a
it
little bit
wasn't
easier
Texas.
than the
Yeah,
other
it's a little bit easier. Yeah,
option.
at least she didn't go to Texas. At least she didn't go to
Which
Texas,
I want
right?
to say, I've tried to tell y'all this whole time never made sense from a basketball perspective. I never understood it.
Exactly.
So I am
Yes.
so happy for her that she
Me
was able
too.
to choose basketball in this instance because it would have been an NIL decision, in my opinion, if she went there. It's a great program. They're really good at basketball. But it can be
Yes.
a great program and not be a great fit for the number one player because of style of play. And it absolutely was not a good fit for her, style of play wise. It never made sense in my brain. So I'm glad that she got to choose somewhere that she feels like is a good fit for her on both sides of the coin there because that one never made sense. It wouldn't have been hard for me to root for her
Right.
necessarily because of I can separate that stuff, even though I don't like UT. But just from a basketball perspective, I hated the idea of it just as like a basketball junkie. So I'm happy that it's not there for that reason. Um, Obviously sad that it's not the Lady Raiders. Um, it's tough. They've
Yeah.
been working on this forever, like Tyler said. Kudos to the coaches, everybody behind it. I'm sure it's a tough day, but it's sports. It's a loss. They'll move forward. They're just gonna have to move forward in a slower manner. This was like a cheat code kind of thing. I don't know why this analogy just hit my brain, but it's kind of like she would have been like an excavator to help you like dig yourself out of the hole that you had buried yourself in, and you're just gonna have to do it the West Texas way and shovel by shovel it. And you got the right players to do that here that wanted to be here. They want to be Lady Raiders, and they're here trying to rebuild this program. And the ones that are still here now, doing the damn thing in the WBIT that we're talking about, and the ones that choose to still be here next year, they have a chance to keep getting us towards that progress, just bit by bit, shovel by shovel, the West Texas way kind of style. And we'll hopefully get there eventually. But yeah, of course, it's a bummer. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but I really like a lot of the players we have, and I just don't want fans to get lost in that. I've seen some tweets, and they're still fighting and they're doing the damn thing, and they want to be Lady Raiders and they're here. So don't forget that and keep supporting those players that are Texas Tech. They are Lady Raiders because they chose to be here. That's who you should be supporting right now. Don't forget that.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. We have our team. We're just like Oklahoma and just like Texas and all the above. We're still in our own postseason tournament and we're still fighting. We still have actual Lady Raiders who want to be Lady Raiders and want to be here. So let's root for them. Right now, currently, yeah, it's a tough loss, but we can come back from this. Again, later down the road, we'll evaluate. We have two seniors leaving. We'll have some spots to fill, and transfer portal today is blowing up like crazy. So we'll see whoever
Yeah.
or whatever may happen down the road. But for sure, I think this is all part of a greater plan, and there will be great things ahead, bright future for the Lady Raiders.
I love your positive attitude, Tyler. That's what we all need right
We're
now.
trying.
So yeah,
We're
the
trying.
portal is popping off. We'll talk about that after the season. I don't like to talk about roster things until the season's over and these girls are still fighting. But yeah, we'll have all those conversations. There's plenty of talent out there. There's no reason that they shouldn't. Actually, they have to go find talent. There's no excuse not to, and they know that. So, but that's a few weeks ahead because they're doing stuff. But before we get into the WBIT, because we go in order here always, we got softball first. Then we'll talk about where the Lady Raiders are, and they are in the WBIT Elite Eight. I don't know what they actually call it, quarterfinals. But if you win, they're in the Final Four. We're gonna do their recap in about 20 minutes or so after we recap softball. So you can jump ahead to that if you're watching later. Whatever, you'll see it in chapters below. But you shouldn't. Let's watch our softball team go up to Columbia, Tyler, take on the number 10 team in the country. Didn't start off too great in the first two games, but we battled back on Sunday to salvage the series and get a win, our fifth top 25 win on the season, which sometimes we find ourselves getting frustrated, and then we're like, we have 5 top 25 wins. Like, what's going on here? So it's just different vibes, different expectations around this team. So get into game one. What went down in game one? We'll just go through it. We have highlights for game three because we won that one. But what do you remember about game one?
Yeah, so game one, we lost 2-5. I think that what kind of got everything a little bit frazzled up was we did have to make a pitching change right before it started. The broadcasters asked Nija what had happened. We found out this the next game, and she just said something didn't feel right. As we know, she's been battling like a soft tissue injury, something like that. So it's just said it didn't feel right. So Chloe came in, and honestly, Chloe did what she was supposed to do, considering that she only had so much time to warm up and all the things probably. But she pitched for 6 innings. She had a strikeout, allowed 9 hits, and had 5 earned runs. But we did continue to fight though on the bats. Lauren Allred had got our 2 RBIs. She went 1 for 3. Maya and Haley were able to get on base, and then Lauren was able to bat those 2 in. The game was actually tied 2-2. And then we just weren't able to close it out at the end. But other than that, that's kind of how that first game went. It was just we had some momentum swings here and there, but ultimately Batch just couldn't really get hot after that 3-0 run that they had, I think, in the 5th inning.
Yeah, it was tough. We didn't get that shutdown inning, and that was kind of the game from there. But clutch stuff from Lauren Allred, like you said. She stepped up to the plate in that moment. I literally texted someone. I was like, oh, this is exactly who you went up to hit. And sure enough, she came through for me. She showed them why I said that. I just trust her a lot. I trust Alexa Linglers a lot as too. These older players. Honestly, Lauren's a sophomore, but she's actually a junior by the time in school. She feels older, She just goes up
Yeah.
there and she puts good at bats together. So that was good to see. Again, Chloe, I thought, considering, like you said, circumstances, I don't just that 5th inning, she'll want that back. But I thought for what she did in that game to kind of hang around and give us a chance, I can't be too mad at it against a really good hitting team. Then you carry that into game two. Everyone's a little nervous. My goodness, our mentions, y'all. I need y'all to know if there's going to be any sort of official injury update, it's going to come from the team. Just know that. Even if I know something, I'm never going to divulge players' injury or health information. So stop asking me on Seeing Scarlet. It's just not going to happen. Anyway, so everyone's freaking out our mentions about why Nija's not pitching. She comes out, starts the game. Looks like Nija. A little bit of discomfort, but she does what she does because she's NiJaree freaking Canady. 6 innings pitched, 9 Ks, 2 hits allowed, and 1 earned run. Unfortunately, one of those was a home run. They were swinging for the fences. Might have been a little bit of my fault because I was typing that up in a sentence and about to send it to Tyler, I think, that said that they were swinging for the fences on every pitch. And before I could even hit send, they caught one and it hit the valve hole. And that's all they needed. It was just one of those games where 1 run did it for South Carolina. They won 1-0 in a frustrating game 2 where we had people on base. We had hits. We had more hits than them. We had more base runners out there, and they were turning double plays. They were running balls down in the outfield. They were catching hot shots right at them. South Carolina's defense just kind of demoralized us a little bit. Frustrated them maybe. I don't know. It was frustrating to watch for me. I know that much. And we just looked like we couldn't find a way to break through, and that was tough. And we ended up losing that game 1-0. But that's kind of my thoughts on it. But kudos to Nija for battling through. I know we talked about this before, but I don't know how her teammates don't see that and say hey, I need to give a little more, because Nija's out there, hurt, and she's trying to battle through this, and it's a pain tolerance thing, I think, and she's fighting through whatever it is she's dealing with. So kudos to her.
Yeah, really shout out to Nija throughout this whole series battling through it, because it seemed like this weekend the injury really started to get her kind of frazzled and get start giving her some issues. But shout out to her for being a dog. This is Lubbock's #1 player that is a Red Raider.
Hey,
So
hey, hey!
we can rally around
We
her,
move on
support
quick
her.
around here.
We move on quick. We move on quick. We have Nija freaking
You
Canady.
want to be a Texas Tech player? That's who we rocking with right there.
Yes, that's who we're rocking with. But yeah, ultimately she did great in this game. Couldn't ask more from her. Did want to ask more from our batters in that situation, but you're gonna have off things. And South Carolina, probably like one of the best defensive teams right now in college softball. Ball is maybe half an inch off the ground, and somehow they're still able to make it still be an out. Ball is like 20 feet away from the foul line, and they've already run over there and got the out. It was just really frustrating. We were getting the right hits. It's just too many plays that South Carolina was able to make because they're just our cheat
Yeah.
code. I don't know,
I don't
something. What
I
the?
don't know if the players were getting frustrated. I know I was getting frustrated. So
Yes.
I would understand if they were, and it kind of felt that way. And so we were going into game 3. I said it, in other places like, I wonder if we'll shake up the lineup at all. That's a very normal thing. If you've lost the first 2 games of the series, and it's kind of wondering if Katie Lott or Demi Elder would get a chance to kind of like be just put in that lineup and see what happens kind of thing. And sure enough, we get roll into Sunday, see the starting lineup, and Demi Elder, OG, gets her first start of the season. She'd only have 1 at bat coming to this. She's had a really tough senior season. I think she had a calf injury she's been dealing with, maybe back to the fall, to be honest. And it's kept her out for much of this year. And so you hate that for a senior. So it was really cool to see her get her first start. And Demi Elder, I don't know the science behind it. I've said this before, said it on Twitter. I don't know the science behind it. But in big moments, she just comes through more times than not, and you'll see that in the highlights that we show. She got on base 3 times. None of them were with hits, just good softball plays, and that's what she does. I can't explain it. I just know that I've watched Demi Miller play softball for 4 years now. It is what she does, and so it was good to see her get a chance to kind of do what she does for this team. But some other big players in this: Sam Lincoln in the circle, freshman, gets the start because NiJaree started the day before. Thought she was big. Started a little shaky. Actually, she started really well. 2 quick outs, and she looked good. Like, her speed was good. Her placement was good. I was like, oh, Sam has it today. And she gets a grounder right back to her. Tough play, but she makes a throw and just kind of slipped out of her hand, so it's an error. And then it kind of snowballs from there. They end up getting 2 runs, and then they got 2 more runs on a controversial replay situation where perhaps they looked out, but we weren't allowed to review it after a long, lengthy delay. We couldn't review it because their equipment was broken. They end up scoring 2 more runs out of that play that we couldn't review that potentially should have been the end of the inning. So then it's 4-0 at the end of this inning. And I thought it was going to get really bad, Tyler, personally. But Sam Lincoln said, Shelby, chill. I got this. I'm like that. I know I'm a freshman, but I'm like that. So calm down. And she comes back out there and she just kind of holds him down from there. She only had 1 earned run allowed on the whole game because a lot of those were unearned in that first inning. 1 more run came in the rest of the time she's out there in her 4 innings, but it gave us a chance to come back in the game and get our hitters going. And I'll let you take it away as I fire up the highlights with the hitters, Tyler. Who did the damn thing hitting-wise?
Alexa Langolier, she went 2 for 4 and got 2 RBIs
Who
in.
else?
Alexa has been great these past several
Outside the
series,
senior.
actually. She's a hitter. Haley Tony, another hitter, she went 2 for 3 and got 1 RBI in. And then Bailey Lindamoose, she went 1 for 3 and then also had an RBI in there. So bats came up huge in this game, for
Clutch.
sure. And like I said, I think that the Sam Lincoln being able to start off with shaky, but then is able to just be rock solid near the end reminds me a lot of the A&M game. And this time we were actually able to get over that hump at the bat. So I'm glad that the bats decided to keep fighting and we're like, all right, let's go get this dub, even though we were down up to like 5-0.
Yeah, exactly. It was one of those games where you have that about you, is what I always say, and that was good to see a young team have your experienced players step up as well and kind of lead the charge and get it done. You'll see the highlights here. When they pick up, it's 0-0 right now because you're going to see Sam strike out a batter, I think, in the first inning, and then it jumps ahead to where we're down 4-0. So that's a bummer, right? But we come back. We just told y'all, spoiler alert, it'll be okay.
2-2 toss. Swing and a miss. Strike 3.
She was good. Like, her stuff looked good in this game.
She was
You kind
very
of saw
good.
what she can be. Just got to... Look at that frame job by Vic.
To the plate, called strike 3 on the check swing to Sellers, and that will end the inning.
Good stuff, good stuff.
Tried to slap, swung and missed. Vincent
Nice.
Got her.
Vic has an arm.
She really does.
From Langoliers.
She can get him. Okay, Bailey. You know, we talked about South Carolina's defense. After the first inning, our defense was pretty solid for the rest of the game. Kylie Huffman just does her damn job. I don't know if, like, the scouting report's going to catch up to her or whatever, but for now, nothing flash. She doesn't have a crazy batting average right now, but it just seems like she has a couple of big sack flies already early in her career, and this is a huge one to get us a run. break the shutout there, and mentally that's just a little bit refreshing. Get a run on the board, get your mind right. Hey, we're not going to get shut out. Now we can go get some more runs. And that's what we do. You're about to see us get more runs in this inning, but don't let it go unknown that Kylie Huffman got us the first one.
Tagging from third is Tony. She scored.
There we
Tony,
go.
of course, got on base to start the inning, so that helped as well.
Becker fires home. Lined left side.
Flex.
And off the glove of Chansey. It's a
Just
fair
clutch.
ball. 2-run score.
So clutch.
Clutch.
Up at second.
Demi Elder was a part of this inning as well. Shout out. Got on with a, I think, hit by pitch in this. Just gets on base. Don't know the science behind it.
Payoff delivery. Swing and a miss.
There we go, Sam.
Go. That's
Lights out.
shutdown inning. We talked about not being able to do that in the first game, right? A freshman goes in there and does that in a massive moment where we get right back in the game, and she gets 3 up, 3 down with a strikeout. And that pitcher that batter was on like their 12th or something pitch of that bat. She was fouling everything off. She was fouling them all off. And Sam just, no, she's not worried about it. Sends her to the dugout, and we go back in and have a chance to take the lead in this next inning. You don't do that if that inning doesn't happen.
Up the middle, base hit to center field.
Chill.
Davis held up at third, but Johnson sent home.
There we go.
Now we're within one. Alana had a couple of big walks in that game.
Did.
Look at that bunt.
Safe.
Safe.
And we are tied.
This was a little controversial. They reviewed it. Equipment's all of a sudden working, but they saw her safe. So we're good there.
1-0 from Gresh, shows
Back to
bunt.
back.
Chansey picks it up to the
Suicide
plate. The
squeezes.
tackle.
Tony gets in. This is the opposite. They call her out. She's clearly safe. We have to go review it. Thankfully, the equipment is working. And that was a great bump by Demi Elder. So she gets the game-winning RBI. I believe she should on that. And Haley Tony, I mean, she got the hill down the line. You'll see a replay here. She was booking it. Great slide. Clearly gets her foot in there, so don't worry. This was overturned, and this is the winning run of the game, ultimately. So a little small ball got it done for us.
The call on the field has been changed to
Look at this. I mean, clearly in there. This was not even close. And then NiJaree Canady came in to close out the game. And she's NiJaree Canady, if you didn't know.
Yes.
Great.
Love that for her.
Just look at these. Oh, no. And then this defense. The turn from
Double play.
It's just so smooth. That's like I can't explain it. Just y'all need to go watch the replay. That's a freshman turning that double play. They're fourth in the country. Her and Alexa Langley are turning double
Wow.
plays. Yeah, you swung. Get on back to the dugout.
2-2 on the way. Swing and a
Ooh,
miss.
How?
swung again.
I would be terrified. No way. I would just quit the game of softball. But yeah, so that was that. Big on her to come back in there. You know, she looked at Glasgow and was like, put me in the damn game, coach. We're scoring runs here. Get me in the bullpen. I am fine. We're winning this game. Like, I don't know what happened, but I envision it happen something like that. Like, from the competitor that we've learned her to be. She probably was like, now, coach, I'm ready. I'm going to warm up. Don't even give them a choice, probably. I'm going to warm up. You just tell me when you want me out there. It's probably how it went down. I'm just guessing. So she did her thing, held them down. The game ends early, but let's be honest. If it had played the full 7, and NiJaree would have struck out those batters too. There was a drop dead time. It happens all the time in softball, even baseball, because they're not flying charter a lot of times. It's commercial flight. They have to leave when they have to leave. And so it ended after the top of the 7th inning, and we won 6-5.
It was a huge, huge win. And to the South Carolina people, I don't think you're watching our show, but if you are, just letting you know, you had no business, first of all, coming onto our page and commenting. Second of all, you need to fix your replay equipment, maybe put some money into that. And lastly, y'all definitely should not have given up that 5-0 lead. So it's like y'all could have had this game in your hands, but y'all just choked and let it go. So, you know,
They didn't choke.
I don't know what to tell y'all.
We just stepped up to the moment is all it was. We were just
True.
better than them on that day.
We were.
Sometimes that's all it
That
is.
is true. Sometimes
Sometimes
that's all it is.
No, yeah, they were chirping. I chirped back with them on a couple of pages. They don't chirp for very long. They back down real easy. I just said one
They
thing
do.
and both of them were like, yeah, okay. I'm like, that's all you have?
I
Like,
know,
we
bro.
don't know
Like,
back and
we don't go
forth?
back.
Damn, you're not built for Texas Tech Twitter. But anyway,
Nope. They didn't see it
yes,
coming.
they weren't ready. They're like, oh wait, they talked back.
Oh,
Oh no.
what?
So yeah, good stuff. Great to see them bounce back. It would have been tough to go up there and come away with no wins. That would have been tough. I haven't even checked what our RPI is now. That was both teams are pretty high in the RPI going into that, so I'm sure it helped us both, win or lose. Hopefully, it boosted us a little bit. And wish you had won the series, but to be able to battle back from being down 5-0 after having lost the first 2 games, mentally I like that. So I'm hoping that'll be something they can build on moving forward, because they head to Lawrence, Kansas.
Yes,
NiJaree
they
Canady
head
is
over
from
to Lawrence.
Topeka, Kansas, I believe. She's from Topeka, right?
Yes.
So this is a little bit of a NiJaree homecoming series. She has played here before, I believe when she was at Stanford. She's told the story somewhere. But it was really cold and the weather was bad and it wasn't a lot of fun for anybody. So I'm hoping this is a lot more fun. And the weather's good, her family's there, and the whole squad's showing out. So what do you got on Kansas?
Yeah, so Kansas, they have hitters. Now Kansas has kind of had a off year. They're right now 14-12, and they are 3-3 in conference play. But they have dropped some to they dropped some to Baylor, and then they dropped some to Utah. No one was really expecting that, but I don't know. They're just kind of going up and down like a roller coaster. But as far as how they are, they do have hitters. Paisley Limbaugh, she hits at a 412. Ainsley Lindoff hits off at a 376. Haley Kripe hits at 360. And then Olivia Bruno, she hits at 343. Those are their top hitters. Obviously, hopefully, Nige is able to sit them down early and it's not going to become a problem, hopefully. And then hopefully we can just go ahead and just sweep the series. That would be great
Let's
too. So,
go.
our other pitchers, lock in Sam, Chloe, maybe Brenly, whoever may be out there, y'all go do the damn thing. And as far as their pitching, they have pretty good pitchers. So, they have Olivia Bruno, good hitter. She also is really good on the pitching end. She has a 2.26 ERA and she's 2-1 on the season. But it seems like that their ace, she has a 2.04 ERA and she is 4-1 on the season, so she's pretty good. And then they have other pitchers in between that are kind of hanging around the 3 or 4 spot that we might see on game 2. But those are their 2 main pitchers that we need to watch out for: Kennedy Diggs and Olivia Bruno.
Let's go. Was Kansas the series at home that got a little chirpy last year?
Oh yes, they
I
were
don't
very, very
know. I mean,
chirpy at
obviously,
our home stadium.
we don't have a lot of returners from that team, but those 3 probably remember it. But I don't know if they have a lot of returners either. I don't know. But yeah, I just remember that series got a little testy last year for some reason.
It did.
It was a wild
Stressful.
series. Like
It was.
every single game was bonkers. I don't know, as long as we win, I don't care. But let's just go up there and get a sweep. That'd be great. Just a series win. We're in first place right now in the Big 12, I believe. 5-1, and just keep it going. Keep it headed in the right direction. Because then you have a series back at home finally. They've been away for like a month at this point. Well, obviously they've been traveling back and forth, but they haven't played here in a
Right.
while. And it will have been a month when they are back in town next weekend when they host Utah. So if you haven't gotten your tickets, go ahead and get those. It's been a while. A lot of people are going to be wanting to get out there and see them. And it's getting into the home stretch of the season, so it'll be a big series then. So that's kind of what we have on softball. Just keep getting better. Keep trying to figure it out. They're growing. They're figuring roles out and all those things. But I think we all know they're a good team at this point. It's just a matter of how good. But we're trying to find a way to host a regional, which I think would be like a massive like building block for the program in year 1 to even just host a regional and then find a way into a super. But first step is to get that host spot. Got to be a top 16 seed. We're sitting in that range right now. Just keep doing work. I think if you win the Big 12, you're going to be good there, but there's some tough series ahead.
For sure. And then coming in this week, we are ranked number 13 in 2 polls. I think it's the USA poll and then the coaches poll. And then number 14 and then number 16 by D1 softball. I don't know if they know
Top
ball.
16,
No, I'm
let's
joking.
go.
They probably do know
No,
ball.
that's probably the most accurate one of all.
Probably,
They
yeah.
actually watch all the games.
For sure. And then our RPI did bump up. We were in the 20s, and then we did bump up to 19. So that's good to see that they even said like even if we lost all 3, we would have still moved up. But now that we got that one, I think we moved up even more. Broke the teens. So that's good to see our RPI go up. We did. We
because
needed it.
went down a little bit playing Baylor, and now it'll probably, I don't know. But we have some other big RPI opportunities in the Big 12 later in the series.
Yes.
In the season,
RPI is so weird. Like, what do you mean you get
It's-
punished for having to play Kansas? Like, we have to play them. It's not a choice.
Yeah,
Like,
it sucks. But they've been good. They've beaten, hasn't Kansas beaten some good people this year, and then they've just lost to some like what people.
yeah,
too?
it's been
like,
really like,
so
yeah.
you really just got to go in there and just be you. Like you can't really
Exactly.
look at who they are, or who they played, or how they've been doing, because they have some good players on that team. So just be us, and you should be able to get a series win. It's how it should be. How they should look at all this, because they have the dogs to do that, and they just got to go out and do it. So yeah. Moving into basketball, Lady Raiders. We talked about all that stuff at the beginning. This is this year's team. These are the people that are Lady Raiders. These are the ones that are fighting for you fans. And man, have they been fighting. They have now won 5 of 6 games dating back to the end of the regular season into the Big 12 tournament. And now their first 2 games of the WBIT, they've won both of them pretty handedly on the road, which that's impressive because it's been on the road. The first one at 7,220 feet, the highest elevation in college basketball, so they say. It's like written on their free throw line. I mean, talk about a psychological move. I thought that was hilarious and brilliant. I'm like, you're sitting there like, look, you're shooting free throws, and you're like,
Yeah.
you bounce it, doing your routine, and that's all you see in front of you. Like, you can't forget that you're at 7,220 feet elevation, because it's reminding you every time you take a damn free throw. Even when you're supposed to be able to breathe and take a break, they're like, no, we're going to let you know that you're really damn far up here and you can't breathe. And so, genius, brilliant psychological move for them. Didn't work on us, though, Tyler. Didn't work
Did
on
not.
us. Because after the first 5 minutes of the game, we got our breath, maybe our second wind a little bit. We pretty much dominated. There were runs in there, but we punched right back. We won 65-48. Held a pretty good offensive team. They're not a high-scoring offensive team. They score more than that because they're such low pace. But, man, they are not used to a team holding them down like that. And you could see the frustration building on them as it went. What were your thoughts on the Wyoming game? I'll pull up the highlights.
I think that this was a really gritty win, and I love that we came out with the intensity and the power. I loved how we didn't let them get too crazy. They only made 4 threes, which is something that they're fairly good at. And I felt like that there were times where we were kind of able to stop Fertig a little bit from her getting them really way back into the game and stuff like that. But ultimately, yeah, it's a great gritty win, and we ended a lot of very experienced team. Ended a lot of seniors' college careers. So.
We did.
Oh well,
Not easy to
that's what
do.
happens. We did it in front of a great crowd too.
Oh,
So
well. Yeah, they had a
and
great crowd.
7,220 feet.
Man, people just want to see Texas Tech play everywhere we go. These
I
solid
know.
crowds. I don't know what's going on. Like, big name coming in, power conference team. Let's go. Yeah, no, they played great. You'll see that in these highlights. They just had an intensity about them, a confidence about them, a swagger to them that we've seen of late. Having fun and doing the damn thing. Really a great defensive effort you'll see in this, but also just good offensive moments. It starts off. These highlights are a little bit out of order. We just use whatever the team puts out there. I think they're having issues, so give grace to them. It's not their fault, but the highlights are out of order. So this jumps ahead to the second quarter. You'll see a lot of the first quarter highlights at the very end of this clip, so don't get confused. But it starts out with this Bailey mop and spin cycle move that was just beautiful. 3
Bailey.
people. There are 3 people. And she's like, and 1? What are we doing here? Bird Martin.
You go Bird.
Oh, a little give and go in the corner. That play works all the time. I love to see it being from Kelly Moore to Bird Martin. Bailey Maupin locked the F in. Look at those eyes. She ain't losing. She's not losing this
She
game.
ain't losing.
Her counterpart, Jazz Shaver, says, we're starting the second half strong with a 3, no hesitation. I just love it, Tyler. I just love it. I just love it so much. They're just making simple basketball plays. They're doing the damn thing. It's so much fun to watch. I can't explain to you. What do we got? Lowen Johnson was really steady. Got Kyla doing her thing. Oh, look, Jalen. Jalen Bristow. With the pass. I mean, if Jalen starts passing the ball that well, look out.
Looking.
Jazz Shavers, buckets. Little spin cycle. Another. Bailey and Jazz are so crafty in the lane when they get down there. You're just in hell. I mean, deep
Bailey.
three. 8 seconds left on the shot clock, and she took a deep three. That was not a have to heave it three. She said, I can make this.
They got it down to single digits too. They thought they're going to
thought.
run. Bailey said, nope.
Nope, no, you're not. Not going to happen. We had a lot of those run-busting moments in this game and in the next game, too, that we helped us win these. They don't show the end of that. She made that play. Another great drive to the basket. And it's jumped ahead to the first. Has it jumped? No, we're in the fourth quarter still. Oh, yeah.
That was my favorite drive, just plowing through 4 different people.
I
in the
said on
paint.
Twitter, it was like she said, tag her it, and then no one wanted to play with her. It was really
Right.
sad. They didn't even play it. She's just like, all right, I'll just go. So that was the end of the game. We won it. Obviously, you'll see these highlights jump back to the beginning. But there were some great highlights in the first quarter, so watch them. Great passing. Look at that pass from Jazz. Man, Jazz can make good passes when she's like really locked in that way. Great defense, forcing a tough pass. They can't do it.
Thank you.
That was a good common theme all game. We had a good game plan.
There we go, Logan.
We were just the more physical, tougher team for sure in this. They didn't like it, but that's just a good basketball play. Oh, pass. Jay to win. Knocking them down all of a sudden. We'd love to see it. Love to see it.
We got a Charles.
Yes. She's a little all over the place, but man, you can't stop her if she just does what she does. Yeah, we were our pocket passing in this game was great. Our pick and roll, like pocket passing meaning like small space passing. That's what I mean by that. Sometimes from the hip, actually from the pocket. That's where that term comes from. We were making really good passes in a way that at times we've seen it. I think back to the BYU game at home. It's like the game I go to where we're making those passes a lot, but we haven't always seen it. It was back in this game. We've just been a lot more aggressive driving to the rim lately, and that's opening things up for our guards, but also our post players to make plays. So I know Bailey Maupin had herself a game in this, I believe, but read off the box score. Her and Jazz did the damn thing, if I remember right.
Yes, we have been talking about all season. It seemed like that it was just every other game, one of them would step up. It'd be like, all right, well, Jazz, this will have a game, and then Bailey will be a little off, but then Bailey will have a game, and Jazz will be off, and they just couldn't mesh together. But postseason basketball and up late, they've been meshing together. Both of them had 17 points. They combined for 34 points each. Bailey had 3 assists and 4 rebounds in this. Jazz had actually led the team in rebounds with 5. She also had 2 assists as well. And then we had Kyla Freelon. She had herself a game. Kyla, she's no stranger to the elevation. As a matter of fact, in her post-game conference, she knew her hometown elevation by heart. She was like 5,280 or something like that. Coach Skrlik.
How do you know that? The vibes were high in that post-game presser. Go watch it. Very enamored with the wheelie chairs as well.
The wheelie chairs. Yes, I was dying
I
at
just
that.
love seeing the squad have fun.
Vibes are really high, but yeah, Kyla had herself a game. She deserves to, be fascinated by wheelie chairs because she had 10 points and 4 rebounds in that. And then off the bench, obviously we saw that 3 from Bird Martin. That was huge. Logan Johnson had 4. Achal had 2. Jalen had 3. Jada Wynn had a 3. Everybody really contributed. And then Sarah, she had 2 rebounds, 3 blocks, 3 huge blocks, led the team in blocks, and then 6 points in that as well. So everyone had to contribute, and I love that. And I even loved how we closed out the second half with that team with Kelly and Jalen and I think Logan was out there and all those people. I really like to see those players get some minutes. Achal, it was good to see.
They work really hard in practice, and this team, by all accounts, is really close. That's what they talk about, and so you can see how much they celebrate each other, and that definitely carries over into the Virginia Tech game. So we'll just go ahead and go into that game. What I remember about it off the dome, and I'm sure you have the box score, is again Bailey Maupin was hooping early, just efficient as all ever. I think she had 20 plus points on 7 of 10 shooting. That's pretty high efficiency marks. Jazz made big shots when we needed them. Wasn't her best shooting night, but she just made sure she was like, okay, if I'm not hitting shots, I'm going to get in the lane and make some of those crafty plays and get a bucket when we need it. Not be afraid to take big shots still, and she made some big shots late. Adley Buckets Blacklock came in late into this game and got buckets when we needed it. I thought Danae Fritz was a little bit of a quiet MVP in this game. You'll see highlights of her. Just kind of moments where I felt like she flipped a switch in the second half when Bailey got in foul trouble and had to leave the game. And And Virginia Tech is going on a run. We get out big in this game. You'll see the highlights, but in the second half, they come out as you'd expect the number 1 overall seed to do on an 8-0 run. And she kind of stops it with a defensive play. Well, I'll stop and show that highlight. I thought Jada Wynn had a big moment where she made a 3 in a similar time. You'll see Bailey Maupin has the shot of the game in a similar moment. Going back to the Wyoming game, same thing in this. We were able to stop Virginia Tech's runs before they came back, right? We never trailed in this game. Not a once did we trail in this game, right? I think in Wyoming, once we got the lead, we never trailed in that game again either. So it's just, that's what's been different about this team. A lot of people have been asking what's different. Is it actually them playing better, or is it the competition? No. Some of these teams we're playing are better than a lot of teams we lost to in Big 12 play. That's just a fact. And they're better, but we're beating them handedly because we're playing better. We're playing more confidently. Our offensive numbers are up. We're doing what we do on defense. But most of all, we're not letting those runs break us, and we're just regrouping. Coaches are calling good timeouts. We're regrouping, and we're going back out there and swinging right back. And that's just a maturity thing from this team that we just, for whatever reason, could not grasp or could not do. And once they got that win at Colorado, it's been better. So we'll show the highlights, but if you have any thoughts before I play them, that's kind of like the overall vibes of the game. But we really dominated this game from start to finish. I mean, we started with an 8-0 run at the first half, and then they did in the second half, but we had already had a big lead by that point. So we really dominated, and we're the more physical, tougher, out-rebounded them by like 30. That's not even an exaggeration, I don't think. Maybe like 25, and played great defense.
Yeah, I loved how we were able, like you said, to maintain a lead the entire game, dominate. You'll see in these highlights in the third quarter, Virginia Tech got it all the way down to be down by 2, but we, again, never gave up that lead. We never let them tie, and that was a good feeling because I'm thinking like, I think it was Oklahoma State and even Baylor where we got so close, down by 2, even down by 1, and we just weren't able to get that shot to get off because the other team would keep pushing and pedaling. And it was so great to be on the other side of that and be like, hot Virginia Tech. Like, yeah, you were the first team left out of the NCAA tournament, but
Sure. These are facts.
you just couldn't finish out on that. So, oh well. Sucks to be you. So
Gobble, gobble, as they say. Sorry.
yes,
That's what they
gobble,
say.
gobble.
Beeps. That's what they say. That's their saying. It's a t-shirt. I have a t-shirt actually somewhere that says that. It's fine.
Oh.
I didn't wear it. I did not wear it the other day. I was not a Virginia Tech fan the other day. These are the highlights, and we start off strong, and then again, we never trailed in this game against the number 1 overall seed, like Tyler said. That means they were the first team left out of the NCAA tournament, which is where we wanted to be, and we're beating teams that were right there as well. They were really high in the net. It's a good pro, and that was just in the Final Four 2 years ago.
Tournament won 2 games, beat Utah, a team in the NCAA.
Jalen! Context, she only had 2 seconds to shoot that. It was off of a timeout, I don't remember what happened. Ball goes out of bounds. We have 2 seconds. I think we subbed in Jalen. Smart sub by our coaches. Subbed in Jalen for Kyla because they need shooters out there. You got to catch it and shoot. And when Jalen's not thinking, she's hooping.
Shooting opportunity.
She was hooping in that moment.
A little bit about it. Had 5 of them in the tourney opener.
Talk about hooping. I mean, deep 3. This is Bailey. I think those 2 weeks off were good for her. Her legs are under her. She looks like Bailey Maupin again. So good. They show it twice. Buckets. It might be a different shot, to be honest, but I'm thinking it was the same one. Kyla was annoying them.
A rebound.
Just the athleticism.
Bailey.
That. And then Bailey made another 3. These are just big shots that we're making. You make shots like this, you're going to win games. Like this. It wasn't her best shooting game, but she just kept shooting, and she makes a shot there when we needed it.
I mean, 29-14 is such a huge start. I mean, that's huge for us. We need that. We need to keep doing that.
Kyla Freeland just made a short corner bucket, and I just need to point this out because I screamed when it happened live. I really do think I should pull it up. That might be her first made basket outside the lane this year. I don't know what happened, but her sophomore year she was shooting those a lot. Like we were trying to develop it, and this year maybe because we have her in a different role, she just doesn't find herself there. I don't know, but she shoots it well. Watch her shoot free throws. Like she has such a good shooting form. I'm like, Kyla, you could do more here. I'm just a big believer in Kyla Freeland. So I lost my shit when I saw her make that because it was so no hesitation, beautiful swish. Like you can tell Bailey knows she's capable of it because Bailey's like, yes, like that was her reaction to that. She's like every time. But anyway, Virginia Tech went into a zone on that play because that's been something that teams have tried when we've been taking them to the woodshed a little bit against their man. and they tried zone and it didn't work, and they abandoned that as well. So kudos on that play. It's been an area we've struggled against zone, and we found a way to say not today.
So double digits with which to work for the Red Raiders. Tall, a team in the NCAA.
Oh, damn.
About coming
Just
into
have to watch it again.
pace
See if I jumped right to it.
free zone.
I jumped almost to it. That over here. Watch this play right here since you already seen it. Kelly Mora is about to make a 3. We've been running a lot of these actions lately with our 4 and our 5 player, where we're doing a lot of screen roll and replacing with those 2 players. And when you have players out there that can shoot, and in this specific lineup, both of these players can shoot, because I believe that's Jada Wynn setting the screen, and then Kelly Moore is on the other side. Both of them can shoot 3s. We've been running this a lot more. We've seen it with Jalen out there, where she is the one that ends up at the top of the key, and she makes that 3. In this moment, it's Kelly. It's just a lot more dangerous when you have players that can shoot it. I guess she's at a disadvantage size-wise, but she does not waste her moment. I don't know how many minutes she got. You can look it up in the box score. What'd she get, like 2 minutes? Made a 3? 2 minutes, 3 points? What was her points to her minutes ratio in this game?
Yeah, Kelly had 2 minutes and 3 points.
There you
That's
go.
it.
And she makes it right here. No hesitation. Shot clock is not running down. But she's capable of it. Good little player. I get she's undersized, but she can absolutely stretch a defense. Oh, this is that play I was talking about earlier. I think Bailey's still in the game right now, but she's getting to that point where she's about to be in foul trouble. But Danae, I don't know, we came out of this timeout. You can see that they had went on an 8-0 run to start the half. And it's like maybe they said something to her. She just knew, like, hey, I'm supposed to be a leader on this team. I'm supposed to be the defensive menace that I am on this team. She comes right out of that timeout and gets this turnover. Goes down, all of a sudden we're up 9 again. So I thought this was a big moment from her. Couple of possessions later, she forces another turnover that then leads to a Jada Win 3, which is a play that puts us up 10, and you'll see that highlight right after this. So it was this big spurt from her. Kudos to her. A little bit of a quiet game offensively, but I thought you saw her do a lot in this game. You'll see, you probably don't see in the highlights, but there was later, you remember like at the end of the game, she had like 3 possessions on one trip down the floor. And she got like 2 rebounds, and then she stole the
inbounds. Ball, yes.
And even the announcers were like, she is so annoying. And I was like, yes, she is. Yes, she is. She's so damn annoying, isn't she? I'm so glad she's on our team. So that's what she can be for us, and it was cool to see her turn it on. Thought her and Sarah Sonogo at times were like quiet MVPs. She had some big rebounds, big blocks, and those are those things you need on the team. Every night someone else is going to be like that offensive person. You need those quiet people just doing the dirty work, and I thought those 2 did.
Here we go, Danae Fritz.
She's always talking shit. Love it. And then she got a turnover, led to this 3 from Jada. Massive shot. And then this is the biggest shot of the game from Bailey. You notice the score there. It's only 41-39. So we kept holding them off on those other 2 moments, and then they came back again. And this time they got within 2. And the referees were out their mind.
Oh my
Bailey,
gosh.
This stretch where they came back, Bailey was on the bench, by the way. She had foul trouble. They had to put her back in because they're like, oh no, like we need Bailey out there, obviously. And she goes in, she makes this massive shot. These are plays we weren't making earlier in the year. You get it done, and then we just took over from there. Put our foot down. The score is at 10 points right now. Adley, Blacklock, buckets Blacklock. I can do more than shoot, y'all. I can do this. Big time. And then she makes a 4-point play. Watch the bench. Watch the bench. This is what Gerlich's we'll show a post-game presser comment clip in a minute, and this is what she's talking about with how much this team is all about each other. Danae Fritz has to be held back by Coach DeRue from tackling Adley on this. Bird's right over there ready to do it. This whole bench wants to come out there. They're so hyped for Adley. It was the same way earlier on the Kelly Moore 3. It's just cool to see them do that.
Business in the 4th. Another for Adley.
Like, no one's having more fun. No one's having more fun than this team right now. And they don't give a shit if you think that that's weird. So I love it. Nope. But yeah, do you have anything from the box score on this game, like on actual numbers and stuff?
Yeah. So Bailey Maupin, she had 23 points in this, came up huge, even though she was battling foul trouble. It was just very weird stuff. Like the refs were not evenly calling it.
That's all.
Yeah, it like started off like 4 fouls and then 5 fouls. And it was like 4 fouls, and then you get 4 fouls. Like it was.
You know what
not
it was,
even.
Tyler? And I'll just say it. I'll just put it out there. That coach clearly had a conversation with the refs at halftime because they were letting us be more physical in the first half. And
For sure.
they don't play that way in the ACC. They just don't. They don't
They
play
play
a lot
soft
of physical
basketball.
Some teams do, but a lot of them it's just more freedom of movement and all this stuff. That's not how the Big 12 is. We're used to playing physical basketball, and we were playing our basketball, and that coach complained about that in the post-game press conference. A subtle jab. Like, basically, she said, it took us a while to adjust to the Texas Tech's physicality in this game. It also took the refs a while to adjust to it as well. As in, she didn't think it was, like, appropriate levels of physicality. But, again, that's just not what they're used to playing with. And we took control of the game in the first half doing that. It was clear that they had some sort of conversation with the refs. And then they started calling touch fouls. And you just can't switch it up like that in the middle of the game. But credit our players. Earlier in the year, that would have gotten to us. And we would not have been able to be like, hey, they changed how they're calling it. Let's adjust. Let's adjust a little bit and finish the game. Be aggressive, play good defense, but let's adjust to what they're doing. And we were able to do that. So just want to point that out. But continue.
Yeah. Yeah, so Bailey, in addition to her 23 points, she also had 2 rebounds and 1 assist. And then Jazz, she had 16 points, and she led the team in rebounds again with 7 rebounds. So way to rebound, Jazz. You love to see when your guards are getting physical in the paint and getting those rebounds. Danae had 2 points, but she had 5 rebounds herself and 2 huge steals. So shout out to Danae as like a sleeper. Another sleeper would be Sarah Sanoga, as you said. She had 4 points, but she had 2 huge blocks in this game, and she had 4 rebounds. So shout out to Sarah in this as well. And then Kyla Freelon doing Kyla Freelon things, 6 rebounds, 7 points, doing the thing. We saw the Kelly Mora huge 3. Jada Wynn had 5 points, and then Adley freaking Blacklock doing her thing with the 6 points. Overall, great. And we were talking about, the rebounding numbers. We out-rebounded Virginia Tech 43-24.
Tyler, do you remember how in the trenches we were after that SMU game?
Gosh,
on this damn show? We be showing highlights of other games, and I'm like about to cry when I see this team block out because it's so beautiful. This team's out-rebounding people. What'd you say, 46-19?
43-24.
43-24. Okay, yeah, they got a few cheap ones at the end of the game. But anyway,
whatever.
It was 19 right before the game was over. That is just not who this team was earlier in the year. And so they're going to need to be that when we're about to get into the Florida preview because they rebounded really well. But it's just, as someone that was just searching for a block out earlier in the year, these last really 10 games, even the ones where they were losing close ones at the end before they finally got the win, it's been the blocking out that's been getting them closer. And they have the athleticism, the physicality, the players that know how to read the angles and stuff to go do it. This has always been who Danae Fritz is. We've known that. It's good to see Jazz was doing it. She did that last year. She's getting back to it. Bailey, our guards have always been able to rebound, and Kyla Freeland just rebounds the ball. That's who she is. So that's nothing special. But our guards have picked it up more than anything of late. So good for them.
Yes. And I think that the huge thing overall, when I'm just looking at this team and in this tournament and everything, is just that we want to be here. We want to fight. We want to win. Believe it or not, guys, there's a team in the Big 12. I'm not going to name drop, but their press conference.
It's fine.
All right. Arizona women's basketball. Their coach, Adia Barnes, came out and said in a press conference that she never thought her team was going to win the WBIT. They lost it in the first round to Northern Arizona.
How do you say that?
They had a crazy last play. Like, the girl didn't even get a shot off. They were just dribbling it, whatever. Said that the teammates just weren't locked in. They didn't think that they were going to win the WBIT. They weren't locked in. Some of their teammates were even being a little messy and were saying that they're only going to miss some of their players, whatever it is. But meanwhile, Lady Raiders are over here.
Right?
Yeah. Meanwhile, Lady Raiders,
we're going through it a little bit, but we're not going through it that much.
Everybody is loving each other. We came to play. We're playing aggressive basketball. We're out rebounding people. We're making Virginia Tech mad because we're playing Big 12 women's basketball. We're playing aggressive in the paint. We took down the number 1 team that was supposed to be inside the NCAA tournament but got left out. So I'm just saying that we came to fight, we came to play, and there's other teams that just aren't going to do that, and they just didn't want to do that. But we're over here and we're doing it compared to our Big 12 counterparts. So we're representing well in this tournament, trying to fight off. And it's only us and 2 other Power 5 schools that are in there.
Only Big 12 team remaining in the WBIT. Hang the banner.
Yes.
Colorado lost, Arizona lost. But on that note, one last clip from this game from the press conference. You have Bailey mopping. answering a question. I don't know if she ever wants to be a coach, but she sounds like a coach when she's in press conferences. Smart individual.
Beautiful.
You can tell she answers it about the runs and how they've been able to handle the run, how they were able to handle this run from Virginia Tech. And she's basically like, buddy, you don't know. We've been through it. That's basically what she says, but in a much more articulate manner than that. Like, we've been here, buddy. We've been here. But it was good to hear her say it. And then Gerlich talks a little bit about what Tyler was just talking about within their own team. We'll disappear. Y'all enjoy.
Like she said, basketball is a game of runs. We've been in plenty of big games, especially in the last month, Big 12 tournament, back-to-back games that were hard, that were intense, that were close. So I think just having experience and having a group of, juniors who have all played together for a really long time, just coming out, executing, staying composed, and just continuing to get defensive stops.
What did you learn about yourself and about your team throughout this game going into the rest of the tournament?
For me?
Yes.
I think just that we're playing our best basketball right now, and that's when you're supposed to be doing it. I would say for this team, we started playing our best basketball a little bit late in the conference for sure. We kind of waited until the end of conference play, but I love that it's clicking for them and that they're having so much fun playing together. I think that's getting so lost in today's world with just, with the landscape of basketball that kids are forgetting that they love to compete and they love to compete together with their sisters. And I think this team is doing that. I think they've grown so much from the season that we had, and they're just willing to turn some negative that happened throughout the season into some really good positive. And I just love how much they're enjoying playing together.
Love that. They are having a lot of fun. You can't argue that. These are the facts. That is a fact. They're having fun out there. And it's going to continue on to Gainesville, who beat Florida Gators, took down UNLV on a buzzer beater over in Las Vegas. Now they get to play on their home court. I think they're the 2 or the 3 seed, maybe the 3 seed. They won 5 games in the SEC. I'm not going to front. It's the best conference. The Big 12 is a good conference, but the SEC is a gauntlet. And so 5 games is impressive. They're a very young team. Don't let the record fool you. They're very athletic. We have athletes that can match up in different positions, but I think overall they probably have a 1 through 5 athletic advantage over us, which is something that I don't know has been the case in the last couple of games. Virginia Tech's pretty athletic, but we had that over them maybe. But that won't be the case in Florida. They have 2 McDonald's All-Americans on their team. No, I'm not lying. They're just young. When you ask, how did they only win 5 games in conference? They're young. One's a freshman and one's a sophomore, and they're just trying to figure it out and then make young mistakes sometimes, but they're very good. So I have some thoughts on this game and stuff I'll pick up after Tyler goes, but he's going to give you some key players to watch and some different things he has from watching different games. So do your thing, Tyler. How are we going to take down the Florida Gators from the SEC?
Yes, we're going to go to Florida, and we're going to hopefully get a really gritty win because that's what it's going to take. Florida is led by this stellar freshman guard, number 33 in the class of 2024, number 23, Liv McGill. She's their guard, obviously. She averages 16 points per game, a 30.5% three-point shooter, averages 4 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game, 2 steals per game, but she does turn it over a lot. However, she does have 5 assists. So the turnover and assist ratio.
She's a playmaker, but
yes, she's a playmaker.
Susceptible.
Yes, she is susceptible. She is a freshman, so stuff can happen. Next is the player that I am a little bit worried about is their 6'6" senior center, Rashea Kyle. It's not that she's tall, and she does kind of remind me a little bit of like Vonleh from Baylor or Magassa from Oklahoma State, but she doesn't necessarily have like that bigness to her. She's just really like tall, and she can really kind of, when she needs to make plays, she will. Now, they're not feeding it to her all the time, but I mean, she does do some really great things, such as she has about 9 rebounds per game, 14 points per game, almost averaging a double-double. She can be huge whenever they want to give her the ball and when she wants to be. Next, they have another senior guard, Jariah Warren, number 20. She averages 12 points per game. She is a stellar three-point shooter. Holy cow, 40% from three-point line. I think she hit her season or her career high actually against UNLV the last game, and she had like 7 3-pointers, something like that. And then she had lots and lots of threes she'd be making. And Florida, interestingly, Yes, and Florida doesn't even like really live and die by the 3-point line either. So if they need a three, they're just gonna pretty much go to her or maybe Liv Miguel. And then she also has about 5 rebounds per game as well. And then lastly, their other McDonald's All-American in addition to Liv McGill, who's the 33 person in her class, Layla Reynolds, sophomore guard. 11 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, and then 2 turnovers. So you're hearing a lot about these turnovers, right? Well, how many does Florida average per game? 17.1 turnovers
Hey
per
now.
game.
Hey now.
They turn it over a lot, and we're gonna have to capitalize on that. You got to get points off of those turnovers because they very well are going to try to play really, really fast. They have a 71 rating overall, which means that they do like to play a little bit of tempo out there, and we're going to have to be able to find an answer from that. Other things that I noticed is their offense. They really love to shoot inside the 3-point line, inside the paint. They average 50% from just the 2 point from 2 points.
accurate.
So yeah, just 50%. So
Stats
they
are-
are going to keep driving. They're going to keep pounding in the paint. They're going to just keep attacking that, and we're going to have to be able to find an answer for that. And as far as on our end, whenever they're defending us, yeah, they play man, but they like to try to get you, they try to get all 5 of their players inside the paint, and they try to want to draw you in, and they want you to take those outside shots. And that's something that we might have to be able to try to figure out. We get into a
Bet.
fouling situation.
Bet.
They're not the best free throw shooters, but I think you said they don't necessarily send a lot of people to the line, or they don't get to the line a whole
No,
lot.
they
So
get
it's
there a
not.
lot, actually.
Oh, they do.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's an area
So
of
that
concern for
that's
me.
why it's
Yeah.
only 72% free throw
Yeah.
shooters.
Which
But
actually isn't that bad as a team. 72
it's not
is
too bad.
decent, but yeah.
Yeah.
Some of their best
That-
ones aren't good shooters.
Yeah, and then they give up. I think they give up 71 points overall for their or against opponents, and they like to score 75 points per game. So this is definitely going to be offense versus our defense. So we're
Sounds
gonna have
familiar.
to, yeah, definitely gonna have to make adjustments for that. But that's kind of what I have on Florida. Oh, and one fun fact: Shaquille O'Neal's daughter, casually,
Oh.
freshman, 6'4" forward, plays for
Will
Florida. We
he
might
be
see her.
there?
Maybe.
I don't
Oh,
know.
that would be that would actually be so cool. I don't know. He
He's
can't.
probably
He's
working
can't be
right
hard
now.
to
Is
not
he
see.
working?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what he does.
Yeah, I don't. Isn't he a
Probably a
commentator?
commercial.
I don't know
I
what
don't
he
know.
does.
Gold
But
bond commercials.
yeah. Is that the end of yours? I don't want to cut you
Yeah.
off. with
Oh
that
no,
one.
no. That's all. That's all I got on Florida. What do you have on Florida?
Yeah, no, that's great breakdown on all their players to watch. I agree. Offensively, the big thing is we have to stop the ball. If you don't stop the ball against Florida, you're gonna get beat. That's got to be what they're yelling in practice. That's got to be what they're hearing when they're going to sleep at night, when they're eating breakfast. They got roommates. You just yell and stop the ball at each other. Because if you don't stop the ball against Florida, they're gonna get 80 points on you. Because they do like to get into the paint, and they like to score from there, as Tyler said. It's because they live there. And it's not just because they have a 6'6" big, although I'm not saying I've watched every Florida game. Maybe there are some games where they just sit there and feed her in the post like Wyoming style. That's not what I've seen. They might do it against us because it's a mismatch size-wise. I don't know. But typically, they're in the paint because everyone on their team gets to the paint. The McGill girl, if you do not stop her, she will be getting layups or feeding the post player on a pocket pass in the paint. She will get to the paint every time in transition if you allow it to happen and you don't stop her. You have to get in front of them and stop the ball. Stop the ball, you beat Florida. Don't stop the ball, you're going to get murdered against Florida. So if we can find a way to stop the ball, they are turnover prone. But they're not turnover prone when you're not stopping the ball. Where they get in trouble is where you do get in front of them, stop their guards, make them make a choice. And when you force them to make decisions, they are prone to making poor decisions because they are young. So you need to force these guards especially into stopping them. Who's going to do that? We've kind of talked about this. I know Danae's our defensive stopper, and I said this before, but like she's probably like, Shelby, shut up. Like any matchup is good for me. She's ready to take on the challenge. I don't know what you're talking about, but I don't know if this will be the matchup for her or not. I'm sure she'll get some chances because she got some length on her and she got some size on McGill because she's 5'9", listed at 5'9". I don't even believe that she's 5'9", but that's what she's listed at. So Danae could probably block her shot when she does those crafty moves in the lane. She likes to do that like Jazz does. But I don't know. I know Danae's like telling me to shut up and saying it's her matchup, but I think Logan could be good here as well. I think Jazz could have some moments. Bailey, I think everybody's going to be asked to stop her because it's going to be like, where does she get the ball on the floor? You got to go stop her, right? Because that's number one key one. Stop McGill. Make her get the ball out of her hands and make a choice, make a mistake, and move on from there. Then overall, like you said, they don't shoot a lot from three. Just something to watch. Again, the first couple of games that we've played teams like that's where they want to. Yeah, Wyoming had the post player and she lives in the paint, but they also kicked it out to three a lot and they wanted to get threes. And so us being able to take away that from them was like taking away a huge part of their game, right? Taking away the 3-point line from Virginia Tech, who's like 4th in the country in 3-pointers, right? Was taking away a huge part of their game. You would not necessarily be taking away a huge part of Florida's game if they're not able to get up a bunch of threes, right? They only take about 17 a game. Now, in their losses, they are only shooting 21% from three, versus in their wins, they're shooting 41%. So, on those 17 attempts, like it's still going to be beneficial to us that we are such good three-point defense to hold their percentage down. But that's not where they live necessarily. They live in the paint because of what I just said. 86 percentile, 44 attempts per game, 2-point attempts, only 17 3-pointers. That's only 31st percentile. Closest team in the Big 12, either Cincy or Arizona State. The more I think about it, it's very Arizona State-like. When I think back to that game, it was not a fun game. Way different team. So let's not think mojo-wise, but how they played us. They ran that 4 out when they got in foul trouble, especially, and their guards were just taking us one-on-one into the lane, and they were either scoring, dropping it off to their post player, or kicking it out for three. That is Florida's offense. They kind of run a similar offense to us. They run that dribble drive, but they're just really good at turning the corner and getting to the hoop. Their shots are good. They sometimes get a little out of control and miss some layups, but they're always getting really good layups. Like if you watch them play, they're getting good looks because they're with reckless abandon sometimes. Maybe you can take some charges even, turning the corner and getting to the rim, and they're forcing you to hopefully stop them. If you don't stop them, they're going to score or get a good look. And then you got to get the rebound against them, which is just as hard because they rebounded at a 34% rate on offense, and that's also an area we've struggled. Been better at it of late, but struggled. So we're going to have to bring it there because they're just trying to get to the rim, throw up a shot, and if they don't get it, we're going to get the rebound because we got a 6'6" big and some athletic guards to go up and get it. So I think those are my two things: is like stop the ball, force them to make a choice. They'll turn it over more times than not if you can stop the ball and force them to make a choice. Don't get caught on the nifty, shifty moves that their guard does in the lane. Just stay in front of her. You have a size advantage. Don't let her trick you. Make her pass it. Hopefully she turns it over. And then secondly, get the rebound. Find a way to fight because you're going to have to bring that because that is an area that's been a struggle for us on the full season. It's been better, much better lately during the winning streak, and that's why we've been winning. But they have some athletes, and they are able to crash the boards. And then the other area of concern, you kind of already mentioned it, the free throw line. Maybe they have some that don't shoot it well. I haven't looked at that super close, but I do know that they get to the line at a very high rate. And we send people to the line at a very high rate. And so that's not necessarily a good combination. And that's really, to be honest, not something that has gotten better during this winning streak. I think that might just be who we are. And we have to hope that we can find a way to make up points somewhere else because they might get some freebies at the free throw line. I don't know. I hope that we can magically stop doing that, but sometimes you are who you are. So let's figure out where we're going to make up points elsewhere. Maybe we can force them into sending us to the line a lot as well. It will be interesting. My last little note is how are the refs going to call it? It is in Gainesville. SEC refs do tend to let you play a little bit more. If you've ever watched SEC games, it can be really physical out there, and both teams just kind of go at it. That's how Florida wants to play. I think we want to play that way. I think we would like to play that way, but we're going to need to and be ready for it. I think I'd just go into the game expecting it to be that way and that you're going to have to match that physicality, if not be even more physical. And then if the refs are like, hey, no, we're not going to allow this, or we got refs from the ACC, it's possible, it's in the same region, and they're like calling things soft, then we can adjust. But I don't think you can walk into that game. You can never walk into a game with a soft mentality, but I think we need our dogs to be dogs in this game. It's a really tough matchup, I'm not going to lie, athlete-wise. We have struggled with athletes, one-on-one, covering athletes this year. It's been a struggle for us. Think about Staley Hurds, put up a 30 ball on us, a 40 ball on us, I think. You had that player from New Mexico State or whatever it was earlier in the year. It's been a consistent theme where we're like, Tania Latson, she leads the country in scoring. I get it. She does it to everybody, but she did it to us as well. Like, we've had trouble stopping one-on-one athletes. Florida's entire offense is one-on-one play, one-on-one driving, and they'll pass it from there if you pick them up, but you need to make them make that choice, and we got to be able to stop it. So that's my concern. I think we're a much better team now, but we're going to have that about us. Danae's going to have a great game defensively. I know she has that in her. Logan's going to have a great game defensively, right? Because you don't want Bailey getting in foul trouble. I know Bailey has that dog in her, and she wants to be that person at times too, but sometimes if they're going to call these fouls, like, we don't need her to be the one over there doing that. Kind of same thing with Jazz. So you need our defensive stalwarts to step up and be who they are, and maybe some kind of role players that you're not expecting someone to have a game. I don't know who that could be, Adley or Jada or Kelly Moore or Jalen. Maybe this is a Jalen game. Jalen, I'm just going to say it, Jalen. You're not watching this show. But I'm just going to say it. Jalen Bristow needs to be an effing dog in this game. If she gets into this game, because Jalen has the athleticism that some of our other players don't have that would match up well with Florida. But Jalen has to be an effing dog if she's going to survive on the court with Florida and for us to be able to use her athleticism. I know she wants to be a dog. She talks like a pit bull. I know that's how she thinks. I need her to play like a pit bull against Florida. And I'm just going to say if she does that, Jalen Bristow is the X factor of this game, and Jalen Bristow will help us win this game. Because I think that's kind of what we need is we need that. We know who our other dogs are. We need someone else that can match up athletically, that can also match up physicality-wise. And yeah, she's what she is. She's a sophomore. She's still bulking up and all these things, but they have some smaller ones too that are still going to bring the physicality. I think she can match up well with them if she just matches that intensity and plays like that pissed off Jalen that we've seen in some games. So I'm calling her out a little bit. I believe in her as a player. I need Jalen Bristow to be a damn dog in this game and be that X factor for us off the bench, because I think she could be important, where some of our other players that we sometimes play in these roles, it might be tough for them to match up 1v1. And Jalen just has that in her to be able to do it. Mm-hmm. And so she needs to step up here and bring the physicality so she can do it. Is that making sense? Because athletic-wise,
you can't 100%.
You can't question that it's there for her, but she's got to have that dog in her in this game. And if she does that, I think we win the game, assuming everybody else does their job. I'm not asking Jalen to drop 30 points or do anything crazy. I'm asking Jalen to go out there and get like 5-6 rebounds, a block or two, make some big putbacks. That's what I'm asking from Jalen Bristow in this game. We'll let our other people, our leading scorers, do what they do offensively. But that's where I'm at. Take it away, Tyler. What else you got?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I definitely think that you're going to have everybody step up, and you're going to have to play aggressive, but also if it is going to become like a fouling where it's going to call everything, then you got to be careful on, who is getting fouled out, preferably nobody. But if it does happen, you don't want to have like your leading scorers or your main glue for this team start to get out of that game, because then things can get shaky with that. One last note on Florida that I have is that they will handle the press well. I know that some teams have struggled with that. But they're a really quick team. They know how to break a press. Tennessee has one of the best presses in the nation, and they did it all game. And Florida really did not let up until about maybe like the last 2 minutes. So Florida was definitely kind of beating them on that end. So that is something that we're going to have to be careful on. Don't do it too much to where they're just getting easy buckets.
I'm sure the team has this metric. I'm just like a nerd, and now I'm like, I really would love to know where their turnovers come. Do a lot of their turnovers come in the half court, or do they come against the press? I'm sure that number exists. My dog's barking.
It's probably somewhere.
But I'm sure it's somewhere. But yeah, I'm sure a team knows that. But yeah, it might be more of a thing where they turn it over once you stop them. Like I've talked about, you stop the ball. Yep. That's what I've seen. I've only watched a couple of games, but when you stop them, make them make a choice, sometimes they don't make a good choice. Sometimes they do. But sometimes they make some wild choices. Make them make some wild choices, and then make sure you get the rebound or make that secondary play after they do. So one last stat, they are 14-0 when holding teams under 70 points. That's a pace thing. He talked about them being 71 in pace. They like to play faster games. So if they're playing faster and a team's still only scoring under 70, that means they're probably blowing people out, to be honest. So doesn't mean they can't win if you score more than 70, though. Both games in the WBIT have been high-scoring games for them. Both teams have scored over 80 points against them. and won. So I am kind of interested to see, like, we play better with pace, but I don't know that we play our best at that much of pace. So I am
Right.
interested to see if we win the pace battle, if we like bring it down to like 65, whatever, they want to play at 70, and if that allows us to win the game. I don't know, or maybe our players are like, F this, we'll go around with them. But I don't know if you want to get in a track meet with Florida. I don't know. I'll leave that to them. They know the athletes and the players better. But I'm trying to think of a game where that's worked out for us, and I just can't think of
Yeah.
one. So there's a medium ground for this team. When we play really slow, it doesn't work for us. But when we get a little bit out of control, it doesn't work for us either. So it's that medium ground. If we can win that battle, which we've been good at of late, of making teams play at our pace, that could frustrate them if they're not able to get out and run. Because, listen, they want to get layups. If you're not letting them get layups and they got to run offense all of a sudden, that's when they make mistakes. That's all I'm saying. Stop the damn ball, go to sleep dreaming about it, wake up telling your teammates to stop the ball, on the bus, on the plane, get on the court, stop the ball, make them run an offense, and see what happens. We are underdogs. Think about 4 points on the road. Something like that to be expected. Go out and win it. Get to the Final Four. Go to Indianapolis and have some fun.
Agreed. Go team. Go to that Final Four. They would be playing on, if they win, they would be playing on, I think, Monday, and then Wednesday would be the championship. So we're so close. So
Coming up.
close.
Coming up. All right, let's wrap through the rest. Oh, wait, we got men's basketball. We can't wrap through that. We got to give them their shine real fast. Men's basketball. Man, they're in the Sweet 16, right? Big stuff happening. They play on the
Yes.
same day as the Lady Raiders on Thursday. Luckily, it's the late game, so it'll be right after the Lady Raiders beat Florida, manifesting. Your Red Raider team will go out there, and they play Arkansas, so we get a couple of SEC teams on the docket that night. John Calipari. But before that, how did they get there, Tyler? Let the people know. Couple of wins.
Yes, couple of wins, and they were two very, very different kind of wins. First game against UNCW, they won 82-72, and that game it left a lot of us on the edge of our seat. We were really stressed. UNCW also has the toughest team wins mentality, and they sure showed that. I think they took the lead at one point in the second half, and then we were able to kind of extend it out near the end. But some big people that showed out in that: Kerwin Walton, he made 8 3-pointers, had 27 points. Career high in 3-pointers, probably a career high overall. Kerwin was shooting. But, with
Senior.
that, though, comes the stat that we did set an NCAA record. Don't know if
Shot a
it's one
lot.
we're too proud of, but
Hey,
we shot
shoot.
shoot
We
or
won
shoot.
the
We shot
game. We won the
46
game.
3-pointers.
We do
We won
not
the game.
apologize for
We
NCAA
don't.
tournament wins.
I get it. Yes, we don't. We don't. But I
It
am
was a
saying
lot.
13
It was
out
a
of
lot.
46 3-pointers. That's a lot. That's a lot of 3-pointers, especially when you have people like D5 and JT who can really work it in the paint. So D5, he had 13 points and 9 rebounds. JT had 12 points and 11 rebounds. And Hawkins was 1 rebound shy of getting a triple double: 14 points, 10 assists, 9 rebounds. And that was just they just really did have to have that toughest team wins mentality. We were jacking it up shots from three, like a lot of the game. We should have gotten it more to our post, and when we did, we were able to,
What a leader,
extend
Coach
the lead
Tyler.
and get comfortable. So I don't know. It was a very scary win, but since then we've kind of locked in. That was my thoughts on UNCW.
Yeah. I only have one quick thought. You covered it all. Yeah, probably should have gotten to the paint a little bit more. I think D5 could have taken his player anytime he wanted, and he was just getting bored with it. I don't know. But that was my only thought on that. But second thought is, shout out Kerwin Walton. I remember vividly, first half of the season, he was starting, and everyone's like, is Kerwin Walton even on the team? Like, it was just the weirdest thing, especially the beginning conference. Like, he was not contributing at all, really. And everyone's calling for him to get benched. They're like, why are we still starting this guy? He's doing nothing. And Grant stuck with him. That guy never came out of the starting lineup. Never once. And all of a sudden, it clicks for him. It starts to click. He starts to hit shots, and he was massive to end the Big 12 play. End of the season overall, and then he's massive in we don't win that game, especially with chance that we're not winning that game unless Kerwin Walton does that, right? And that's all because his coach trusted him, and his coach said, you're going to figure it out. We need you. Like, you have to figure it out, buddy. If you don't figure it out, we're not going to reach our ceiling. So get out there, keep playing basketball, and figure it the damn out. Also, I love you, and you're going to figure it out. Like, it's a little bit of that both ways, right? I know you can do this. You have to do this. And he did towards the end of the year. Stepped up as a senior, had a big game in this. And then in the next game, JT Toppin and D5 said, Kerwin, we got you. You carried us last game. We're going to carry the whole team this game, especially in the first half. They scored like 36 of their 40-something points or whatever it was. It was some crazy ratio. Dominated throughout the game. After breaking a record for three-point attempts, we lived in the paint in this game, scored 50 points in the paint out of 77 points. That's absurd. I think that's really cool, and that's what makes this team dangerous, right? Is we're capable of winning in very different ways. We can beat you inside if we need to, if that's the matchup. Hey, we got shooters too. If we need to do that, we'll figure it out on the outside. And that's what makes us dangerous when we're healthy, and hopefully we'll be healthy moving forward. But what else you got on the Drake game before we wrap it up?
D5, he had 28 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. At JT, he had 25 points, 12 rebounds. And then Hawkins had 16 points, 3 rebounds, and 7 assists. 2 notes that I have is that Hawkins is basically our team's assist king of the year. Seems like every time I read his stat line off, this guy is getting either anywhere from 5 to like 13 assists per game. He is goated. He has great court vision. Elijah Hawkins does. And D5. We need to see that D5 that we saw in that Drake game every single time if we want to make a national title run. Because when he plays with that dog mentality and he's driving in the paint and he's being aggressive in the basket, good things happen for us. And again, I know he was battling that injury, so I don't know if that had a lot to do with some of the timidness that I saw in the first game. But the second game, I mean, he came out lights out, great player. And when you get him and JT going, I mean, like, does the other team even want to still play us? Like, I would just give up at that point because it's like they're unstoppable.
Drake is better than us though, and they're very well coached. And that was, I mean, you're not going to face a better coached team, and you're about to face John Calipari, which says a lot for what Ben McCollum had that Drake team doing this year. I enjoyed watching them all year. I think Texas Tech fans understand why I enjoyed watching Drake all year now. Just a really efficient offense, and we took them out of what they wanted to do. But most of all, they're a team that lives by turning you over, and we didn't turn the ball over. That was the really story of the game. They like to get steals. That's how they can make up for the fact that they play a really slow pace on offense, and they weren't able to do that against us. And we took care of the ball, and we won the game. It was close at times. They made their runs, but really we kind of dominated for much of that game. Like I was never super nervous, really. There was a little bit of a stretch in the second half, but I wasn't ever really super nervous in this game like the first one. So got it done. They take on Arkansas on Thursday late. We're getting used to these late tips. We like that, right? They're out in California. Homecoming for old Chance. He's from California. Speaking of Chance, sounds like everybody practiced today. Does that mean he will be available? I don't know, but he's at least practicing. That would be massive. So keep an eye out for that Thursday night. Let's get it done.
Yeah. And then another team that is making huge wins is women's tennis. They beat Houston 4-0, and I have to beg to ask a question. Is Houston really good at anything other than men's basketball? I mean, I don't know. They may have some track people that, are up there, but I don't know. But yeah, we took care of tennis. We took care of Houston on Friday. And we also put UCF. It was a close game. I think AV got the game winning match set, whatever you call it in tennis. I'm not quite sure, but we beat.
I don't know.
I don't know either, but we beat number 17
I like watching them,
UCF 4-1. Huge. We got that doubles point. We always talk about the doubles point is the most important point. And yeah, we take the conference lead. And if we win out, we have been told that we will host the NCAA tourney. So we got to keep doing that. We also came in ranked now number, I think, 13 in the poll today. And then we also, in addition to that UCF win, real quick, we had 1 doubles win and 2 ranked singles wins. So even though, we did beat number 17 UCF, they had some players that are up there in the rankings and a really good team. We go and continue Big 12 play at Colorado Saturday at 5 o'clock. It is the only game that we're playing this weekend because we are the following weekend making another huge road trip, I think, back-to-back. So we will get kind of a break after we beat the Buffs in Colorado.
Yeah. Get up there to altitude, get it done, and then get a break, and then go for 2 more on the road. And then I think they wrap up the season at home against Arizona, which is really they're up there at the top of the standings as well. So that might be a really important match once they get there. But they got to take care of business first. So go women's tennis. Look forward to being an NCAA tournament tennis match at home in Lubbock soon. I'm going to manifest it for them. On the men's side, I'll just jump to that. They got a gritty win at Oklahoma State. 4-3. I think they're 2-1 now in Big 12 play. They had an up and down non-con, but they're kind of starting to put it together. Hopefully, when it matters most here in conference, and they head to Arizona to play Arizona State and Arizona this weekend. Arizona State on Friday and Arizona on Sunday. So that's what the men's tennis team has going. So maybe they can get it going too. They're not ranked right now. Again, it was a tough non-con, but hey, 2-1 is 2-1.
Yeah. And also with men's tennis, I think that they were, I mean, tennis rankings are weird, so they're not in the top 25, but I think they were kind of hanging around in like the 50s,
Okay,
something like that. They've
okay,
been making
okay.
some moves. They're 2-1 in conference right now, so they've been making some moves. They've been, kind of adjusting, so who knows? Maybe
We
we'll
love
see
that.
we'll see
Let's
them
host
start
both
climbing
of
up
them.
the ranks. Yes,
Let's
let's do
go.
both. It'd be the improbable. Everyone would be like, "Oh gosh, we have to go to Lubbock." Yep, you will. And we're gonna be loud. We're gonna go to a game, both men and women's. We're gonna know when to yell when we're supposed to yell, and yeah, we're gonna be hype. So let's go tennis.
Love that. Love that. And I'm going to let you do track because I know you have a cool story on them. But they started the outdoor season. Not a lot going on, but it was a cool story because it's the West Kitley Invitational down in Abilene. That's right. Not in Texas Tech. It was a West Kitley Invitational. Tell us why, Tyler. Tell us why.
Yeah, so for those of y'all that don't know, Wes Kitley started his whole entire coaching. He might have even, I think he's a Abilene Christian alum too. So he started his whole entire career at Abilene. He had a huge career there. He's a legendary coach. So, us in Abilene Christian, we say like Wreckham Wildcats because we're really good friends, especially in the track world with that. So obviously, with the impact he had before we stole him from Abilene Christian, they named an invitational after him, and we did really good in that one in Abilene. And we also had an alumni meet for TCU, or as a TCU alumni meet in Fort Worth. But that's kind of the cool story over there in Abilene with that. With these outdoor season meets, it's kind of weird because you're going to have some of your field event players competing in some meets, and then your sprinters, you're going to save them for the meets that you want to put them in. You'll put some in. But I think that the biggest story was actually at the TCU meet, women's discus. They went 1, 2, and 4th place. They all had personal best marks. Shelby Frank, our girl Shelby Frank, the North Dakota native, she heaved it at 200 feet and 11 inches in the discus, the
Which
number
was
2
respectfully absurd.
mark all time for Texas Tech. Zoe Burleson, she had a 195 feet 2 inches mark at the disc, and then in 4th place was Mackenzie Davis with 173 feet 6-inch mark. And then this weekend they will compete in the 97th annual Texas Relays down in Austin, and they'll be going up against some pro athletes. I know in women's discus they're taking on the 2-time defending Olympic gold medalist Valerie Allman. So it'll be a good test for Shelby Frank, Zoe, and Mackenzie.
Love that. Go track. It's getting into the outdoor track. They had a successful indoor season. Now we're going to see what they can do in the outdoor side. Baseball dropped a tough series to TCU, and I'm going to leave it there. They were close, dropped 2 games. They did win a game in that, had a chance. But really cool thing happened today against Tarleton State that I think should be the headliner here because some things are bigger than sports, bigger than baseball, bigger than the record or whatever. Brady Trimbello started the game today against Tarleton State. If you are unaware, Brady took a liner to the head in practice last year. A very scary situation. It was not good. It was not good. The medical team responded as best as they possibly could, get him to the hospital. He is able to make it through that, but he was in the hospital for about 2-3 weeks recovering. It was not good, y'all. It was scary. And that was a part of last year's weirdness, right, is to see your teammate go through that. But he was with the team the rest of the year, obviously was not playing. I had no idea that he was even a possibility to play. Obviously, we cover the softball team closer, so we're learning those stories. I don't have time to cover them as closely. I knew his story, but I just didn't realize that he was trying to make a comeback. So that astounds me. And he started the game today, and we got the win. A comeback dub for their buddy Brady, who started the game. We won 10-7. So I think that's my thought on baseball. Some things are bigger than sports. That is, he's braver than I am. To go right on back out there. That just tells you he has that about him. He's just that kind of dog, that type of athlete. Not easy to do that. So shout out to Brady. Big stuff. All love your way.
Yeah, shout out to Brady. Huge to have a comeback like that, and huge for our team to get a gritty dub for him today. And then we will go to Manhattan, Kansas this weekend. So softball will be in Lawrence, but baseball will be in Manhattan. So I don't know. Maybe
Let's piss off the
maybe
state of
some Red
Kansas.
Raiders. Yeah, let's just piss the state of Kansas. So yeah,
And
third
the
Big
state of
12 series
Florida
Friday
this
through
weekend.
Sunday. Yes.
We're going to piss off Florida Gators, and we're just going to piss off the
Yes.
whole state of Kansas this weekend. That's the plan.
Let's do it. Yeah. So shout out to baseball.
Love that. We'll wrap this up with golf. The men's golf team finished 7th at the Palma Valley Invitational. Connor Graham finished 13th. That's pretty impressive as an individual. Callum Scott, 17th. And they're now ranked in the top 25 at the 21 as a team. They're playing right now in the Valspar Collegiate in Florida today. Not sure what the results are. I'm sure you'll see the team post that later today. That's the men's golf side. I'll let you do the fun one. Let them know what women's golf is up to. Don't call it a streak.
Women's golf is doing the damn thing. They they kind of started off the season, a little rough, but now they have gotten it together. They competed in the Pine Tree Women's Collegiate in Kennesaw, Georgia, and the team got their first place overall win today. They got gold, huge on them. And the biggest story out of that was back-to-back wins. Clara Hertova won her tournament, and as we said, twice in a row. I don't think it happens very often. Yeah,
to win
only
back-to-back.
goats are able to do back-to-back.
That's
So
true.
Clara
I
Hertova,
think you might be a goat.
yes, get her
She got her
name
first taste
name
of
something
winning
after
last
her.
week,
Yes,
and
get
I'm
her
like,
a banner.
uh-oh. She liked how that tasted, and now she's never going to lose again. What a story that would be. So, yeah, big stuff golf. There we go. As always, we cover every sport on this show. We know that there are some of you that this is the only Texas Tech podcast you watch, which that's cool. Appreciate that. There's a lot of good ones out there, but we are the only one that's going to cover all of them, so we're always going to keep doing that in case for some reason this is. You got to know what's happening everywhere. But you can go find in-depth coverage on some of these other teams like baseball, men's basketball. There's just some other podcasts that cover them for like a full hour the same way that we do women's basketball and softball. But that's your notes. Big games ahead this week. Texas Tech sports rolls on. They fight, we fight. We're going to be here to cover all of it. I can't wait to watch. I hope we're watching a team play in Indianapolis on Monday. I hope those boys are coming back to San Antonio next week as well. I hope I'm traveling all over the damn country next week. I hope I'm going to Indianapolis and then straight to San Antonio. That's what I hope, if I can figure that out life-wise and adulting-wise. That's my plan. Let's see. Let's see if I can do it.
Yes, very hyped stuff ahead. Texas Tech sports are going to be sportsing this week. Y'all go support all your teams this week. Watch them, tweet about them, share cool stories with us, all the things, and let's wreck them this weekend.